Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to another interesting episode of the Whiteblood Panorama, a show that hosts and holds politicians accountable for their actions and inactions. I'm your host, Omar Isa Dandago. On today's show, I'll go head-to-head with one of Kano State's most controversial politicians. Engineer Mu'azu Magaji Sarauniya, popularly known as Win-Win, was a commissioner for works from 2019 to 2020. He was fired after a post he made on Facebook which earned him the anger of his government. He then got another appointment, well believed to be facilitated by Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, as a chairman of the state's NNPC AKK Gas Pipeline Project and Gas Industrialization Committee. We will get to know what that is and how it affects the state. But he was later relieved of his duty. Why? Well, he has now defected to the opposition PDP, vying for the gubernatorial seat here in Kano. So, is he the type Kano State is in dire need of? In part one of this exclusive interview, I'm going to be speaking to him about the complexities of the Nigerian politics and whether or not the politicians, including him, are to blame for what is happening. Well, Mr. Win-Win joins me now in the studio. Welcome to the program. Thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Thank you for having me, and assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. It's really a huge pleasure, an enormous delight to have you on the show. To be honest with you, let me start with this kind of joke. When I was telling my friends about me hosting you on this show, they were like, oh, this guy is media friendly guy, and no worries, he's gonna come on the show and you're gonna have a lot of debates with him. Is that true? You're a debater?
No, not really a debater. We view media as a partner to this democratic journey. You know, it's anybody who understands politics and understands democracy, understand that no political journey will be complete without the check and balances from the media. And because we are also change advocates and we're progressives, we always like to have the partners beside us to pinpoint areas of improvement, areas of criticism. Any politician who would not be able to take that then doesn't qualify to lead in a democracy. So we see media as both friends and sometimes those who decide to just give you a punch as foes. So it's normal in a democracy. So I'm very pleased to be here, to be honest.
You are also of the view that it was the media that kicked Donald Trump out of power in the US?
Well, basically, media brought Donald Trump to power, and also media took him out. So
really?
there is yes, it's a double-edged sword.
But many people would not agree with you as the fact that they brought him to the power.
Yes, so
they were heavily criticizing him.
No, the power of so there are two types of media. The power of conservative media brought Donald Trump to power, and he also was able to develop his own independent audience through his Twitter handle. Eventually, his program became against the liberal media, and the liberal media took it upon themselves to investigate deeper, to probe deeper, and there is something about American democracy. Integrity means a lot in your journey in politics, and Donald Trump is certainly not somebody that will stand the test of integrity. So liberal media like CNN, like MSNBC, had a good time with all his pasts and his actions and his conflict. So it's okay to say media brought him down because he has a lot of skeletons in his cupboard. But conservative media had a delight in Donald Trump because he promotes issues that are conservative values in American politics. So it's a double-edged sword, like I said.
Okay, you talked about integrity, the issue of integrity as part and parcel of the American politics. I don't know, many people would say, do we have this quality in Nigerian politics?
It exists at individual political level. I mean, I will say that, for example, when you take a candidate, you can say the candidate have integrity or not. But structurally, our politics have not developed to a level where we can say we will rely on a political philosophy or ideals of a political party to say the integrity of this group of people that believe in this type of politics can be relied on to deliver, because the first and I think the major catastrophe catastrophic experiment we had with integrity is actually the incumbent president, President Muhammadu Buhari.
Oh,
yeah, that's
somebody that you guys, including you, helped
we brought him
bring
in
to power.
Yeah, exactly, and that is why it's important for us to understand that when we talk about individual quality, we also have to look at the precedents and antecedents of people and their capacity. We have neglected to interrogate President Muhammadu Buhari on his belief in democracy, his capacity to manage democratic system, and also his understanding of what democracy means. We did not do much in integrity.
So you are questioning his understanding of democracy?
I've already passed the questioning. I'm only praying right now that he will just be a very good a God man that will just deliver Nigeria to 2023 safely without any catastrophic issue or event. So we've given up on any hope that he is going to be the change that we're looking for, and unfortunately that is also a very big dent on our democracy, because it makes an ordinary person suspicious of any political actor, no matter how well intended.
Well, you sound pessimistic, to be honest with you, but I don't know, many Nigerians may not agree with you because you're saying that Buhari doesn't have...
Well, all you need to do is just do an opinion poll before Buhari and now after 7 years of Buhari.
But nobody questions the integrity and the moral authenticity of the president. Have you ever heard of any investigation, any corruption investigation into him?
Up to today, you cannot find Buhari wanting in terms of personal integrity. But you see, leadership is beyond just integrity. That's why I said, while we rely on his personal integrity, he should have just been the imam in Daura. That's okay. But we cannot also say that he has translated those qualities to Nigerian leadership. Okay. Ordinarily, we would have said, the integrity he brings. So first of all, let's look at objectively, why is Buhari elected into power? First of all, as a former general, we expect him to bring his expertise to address the issue of security. He himself said in Chatham House in London.
That was in 2014.
That's correct, and that we were so confident that his military background will be very useful. He did not. We are in a much more different phase of insecurity that is more personalized to families and to people than the Boko Haram that is clustered in one zone of the country.
And is it the fault of Buhari?
Well, he is the leader. You see, you cannot say
Buhari cannot go to the bush, to the forest and fight in the Sambisa.
Do you know what commander-in-chief means? Do you know what chief executive officer means? It means you have the resources, you have the army, you have the instrument of caution, you have the force available to you to use whatever intelligence that is available to the state to actually solve our problem. We didn't vote for you to give us excuse. So I'm sorry to say that this is not about whether we will blame Buhari or not. We will blame whoever is the head of state that is elected to solve the problem of Nigeria, and he could not solve the problem of insecurity. Remember, Buhari himself accused Jonathan of the incapacitation in terms of solving this problem of security, and he promised us that they are going to solve it. So I'm saying I'm holding him accountable to his promise, just like you should, because he promised and he failed. So the one. Second, the issue of Buhari being a very populist leader, as a what we call progressive populist, which was the basis of putting the APC merger, means that he represents the ordinary people, not the political elites or the business tycoons, and therefore we expected that, having taken over power from PDP, that the government of APC will come up with a welfarist agenda that will bring succor to the ordinary people. And that agenda means that its political, socio-economic and monetary policies will address the very difficult issues of survival and cost of living. Now, honestly, we will say Buhari has also failed in that respect, because every single indexes of life and inflation and cost of living and cost of foodstuff and cost of rent and cost of everything that we buy has almost tripled, if not more. So you can also say, is that the ball of Buhari? I would say yes, because as an economic manager, you have the central bank that actually regulate monetary policies, that will be able to adjust interest rate and inflation, that will be able to put an eye on the exchange rate, that will be able to put an eye on productivity of the real sector. This is all expertise, and it's a model that the president must bring to bring succor. Now, the last one I will tell you is corruption.
Okay.
And that's where integrity of Buhari did not rub on Nigeria. You know, we have said it here that Buhari is a person that is upright. We can bear testimony to the fact that he grew up in the midst of his colleagues that have basically abused the privilege of power and become stupendously rich in Nigeria. But he decided, because he is not going to be part of that mess, stood all among his colleagues, and that is why the ordinary people were so hopeful and confident that when Buhari becomes the head of state, that corruption will be dealt with. And unfortunately, you know, I'm an engineer, so I also do benchmarking. I also am a project manager. So if I take corruption before Buhari and corruption right now, as Buhari is about to leave, I would say it's also gotten worse, because the type of corruption that is happening in Buhari's administration is a destructive corruption. You can say that there was corruption in PDP. There's what is called functional corruption. Means one individual will loot the treasury, but will cascade it into the economy through either industries or through some form of palliative or some sort of gift, and it will trickle down to the ordinary people. It's not right, but it's functional. But
now,
today, people
you're
will
legalizing.
No, I'm not legalizing. See,
what some political elites from your own party, the party that you are currently in,
the PDP,
you're like legalizing it, saying that it's fine, it's okay.
It's not fine.
Because, as you said, the end result is the money flowing to the common people.
We have tested what called the truthful politicians, and they have failed us much more woefully.
So what I'm looking
for is a transition. A leader that knows these corrupt people, you know, they know themselves, who will bring them out and say to them, enough is enough. Will draw a line and ask them to bring the resources they have looted through some form of negotiated investment into the economy, so that it becomes a useful treasury addition to the economy. What Buhari was doing basically to frighten everybody, that everybody will go to jail except his people. And look, let me tell you one very good example. When the NSAS riots happened, and all the stores have been broken, and we are finding all the palliatives of coronavirus in stores, not shared. This is exactly how you will find money from the treasury in people's account that is not utilized for productive means. So I'm sorry to say, this is the worst form of corruption we have ever. And I will tell you, if Buhari leaves office, the scandal, the revelations, the things that will come out from people who were ordinarily villagers that were invited to the cities to help their own ordinary people, have misbehaved in looting this treasury, will be scandalous, to say the least.
Engineer, you are part and parcel of the Buhari administration, especially let's zero it down to the Kanastra administration. Correct. You are a commissioner, and you after that fateful event that happened in 2020, then the governor also sent you to Abuja to represent Kano State. Given this, your participation in the politics of the APC administrations, both at state level and federal level, and then your quote-unquote bold attitude of telling the truth, as many people describe you with, have you ever confronted the present administration? Let's start with the federal government, the presidency. Have you ever confronted the presidency with any of those issues that you have said bedeviling the country? Correct.
So first of all, I need you to understand that we came in 2014 as members of the strategy director in the BSO. So I gave my all, and I brought people to give their all for the campaign of Buhari for obvious reasons, for things we have mentioned and things we haven't mentioned. And Buhari became president, and I became a member of a transition committee called the Back Office Support Team in the transition of Ahmed Joda Committee. And we brought in experts that we know from all over the world to come and contribute to this government. I know people who came from Harvard, from Cambridge, from United States, from all over the world.
Were they Nigerians?
Nigerians in diaspora. Okay. Who were not paid by anybody, but they used their own resources to stay in a hotel at their own expenses. But they were all hopeful that change has come to Nigeria. And they contributed so much to basically bringing about the ideas that will turn around sectors. I think we selected about 12 different sectors, and we gave them a very heavy dose of intellectual input on how best that sector can be transformed. And we did all those documentation. I think I have copies up to now. Okay. I have copies. Before those, I will say also to you, I was coordinator of what's called Donate for Change. Okay. So we collected people money to contribute to Buhari campaign. I was coordinator. I have the boxes, I have the cards, I have over 1 billion naira worth of cards of Buhari as a remaining now in my. Now don't go and break my shop. But I can tell you, we have that privilege of soliciting money, and people believed us. So in terms of contribution to how Buhari came about, we've done our best. However, when he became president, we also found a way to say, okay, this very work we have done, can it go into the different sectors? Can it go to the ministries? So we started going around to the ministers. We've met maybe over 12, maybe 20 ministers, and gave them this report and revealed to them what we've intended to do. We've also handed the total copies of every sector, about 32 different copies, to the then chief of staff. And we work closely to the chief of staff in my area of energy, power and oil and gas, project management, and our very passion for agriculture and mining. We've actually designed a very important interventions, and we gave all of that to the then chief of staff. However, one catastrophic event happened in Buhari's regime. The people that helped brought about the government, from the street all the way to the intellectuals across the world, were never part of running the government after the government came into being. So Buhari invited...
And was it a problem?
Yes, it was a big problem, because if you don't know the people that contributed, and you don't know the ideals that brought people into that government, you will never be able to recognize the people who believe in exactly the same thing that Buhari believed in. So Buhari invited his clan into power, and those clans have no history of the people that were in tandem with Buhari ideologically or in the political struggle.
Did you tell him that they didn't deserve to be there?
Yeah, well, I've been shouting about that all my life.
No, not shouting. Did you personally talk to him about it?
Well, I will tell you that I've met the president, I think, quite a number of opportunities, but one very good opportunity was after the 2019 election.
Okay.
We had some good discussion. He received us back in APC then, because we were in PDP when we left, was Kwankwaso, and then we came back to APC to help him. He mentioned quite a lot of interesting things. I was personally against his contesting for second term, because in my view, his first term was basically stabilization, and also he has done his best. And I also noticed he was struggling, basically either due to age or due to sickness or due to the issues around him that he found surprising that he was unable to manage. So I advocated for a Mandela option, but then by and large he decided to contest, and it was devil and deep blue sea, you have to make an option. Buhari was still the best option at that time, so we went for him, and when he won, we visited him, and he told us sincerely that he understands he made some mistakes, opportunities were lost, but he will do a lot better. He even invited us to bring about some ideas, and we did. For example, this something program called Empower was not designed as an Empower.
What was it?
It was designed as a community agro-business and community development center. And it was supposed to be an enterprise management system where people who have skills in agriculture and in commerce can be helped with money. Something similar to something we've done in the past called You Win. So
during Jonathan,
correct. So
which you are part and parcel
which
of.
I was part of. So you boost people who are already in the business, not just giving people stipend of 30,000 naira, where you will hook them up of money, and after 2 years you pull them out of that, and they have been addicted to that 30,000, and then now they have to look for how to get money.
So now you're saying that the Empower program that the Buhari administration is running or has been running is not effective.
How is it effective when nothing changed in the economic index of the country? There is a poverty index that we know has gotten worse. How is that possible that you are pumping billions in the economy and nothing is happening?
But you still haven't answered my question. Did you face to face look him in the eye and told him that?
I've looked at him and said to him, so let me give you one feedback. I said to Mr. President, I said, Mr. President, sir, you were elected by the ordinary people. And I think there is one statistics that is not from the opposition, is from your own agency, the National Bureau of Statistics. And that statistics say that the disparity between rich and poor states in Nigeria is so wide. So there is poverty in Zamfara. Over 90% of the population are poor. But less than 10% of the population of Lagos are poor. Now, if you compare that, 90% are prosperous in Lagos, 90% are poor in Zamfara. The disparity is so wide. And I said to him, more than 60 to 70% of the states that are considered poor are from your direct constituency, Northern Nigeria and the ordinary people. So I will say that, sir, please, can we focus on poverty reduction strategy? Can we focus on rebalancing the economy? Can we focus on deliberate policy that will inject prosperity in your own constituency? Because that is the only opportunity ordinary people may have. And he said, oh, this is very important information, and now that you are here, you can come and help me address this issue. Now, the government is pumping billions without the strategy of effective delivery and outcome. If you put something into the system, as a project manager, I look for outcome, I look for output, I look for impact, and then generally I looked at how does your program affect the general population. Now, these are things that I would say to you, if we analyze the billions both in civilian intervention, the billions in the social intervention programs, and the billions that Buhari has been borrowing industries, if we take this basic statistics, you'll find out that they have not impacted positively as the government desired it to be.
Do you regret being a politician, given the fact that most of the problems that are bedeviling the country are as a result of politics and the actions of politicians, including you?
Never. Politics is a process that is very well designed to give opportunity to ordinary people that are gifted with knowledge, wisdom, relationship, and ability to deliver. It is the only means we have where an ordinary Nigerian with capacity and ability will be given the opportunity to become leader. Where we have the problem is the transition between that process to good leadership has not been achieved yet. And I think we are on the journey. I will not say we have failed completely, but we have tried something that should have made a difference, like I'm saying about Buhari, and it didn't make the difference. So I'm stepping back, and that's one of the reasons I go back to PDP, is realizing that the two parties have distinct identity. One have what we consider integrity without capacity. The other one have capacity with deficit in integrity.
So why can't you say without integrity? Use this word, deficit.
Because at micro level, every individual have integrity. But at institutional level, PDP have deficit of integrity.
But it seems like the ordinary Nigerians have lost faith and respect for your party, the PDP.
The PDP. And they have good confidence in the APC today. Is that what you're telling me?
I know you know.
Is that what you're telling me?
You're part of the government. You are part of the government.
I am telling you that PDP took this nation 16 years journey and just drop it at a point where inflation, exchange rate, development index, GDP, and per capita income is comparable to any developing economy in the world. There are corruptions, indeed, we are transiting out of it. It will take us about 25 years to exit. We spent 16, we only needed this Buhari period, if you had allowed us, and all we needed to do is to exit and then start growing. And then we said, well, all of that achievement of basically bringing Nigeria at par with Brazil and Argentina and Mexico, and we are on just the verge of exiting these challenges, and we say we have an integrity brand, and we brought it on board, and it crumbled every single achievement. Now, this morning, exchange rate is 610 to $1. My friend, we handed over the country at 196 to $1. What are we talking about?
Thank God you brought this up. A lot of people have a totally different opinion as to what is really wrong with the Nigerian politics, and not just politics, but even the way of life and the economy and the livelihood of the people. Do you know what they say? They are talking about Western meddling, Western influence. Let me put this question to you. Do you think the Western meddling and influence is real in Nigeria? Because in those countries, mostly those who are colonized by France, the citizens are complaining that they see much of French influence in the affairs of their government. In Pakistan, it is said to be, it is said that the United States has some kind of influence over the military, which then the military controls the central government. Do you think we are seeing something like this in Nigeria, Western influence, or you think because it affects you, the politicians, it's just a mere baseless conspiracy theory?
I am of the belief that Nigeria was a product of colonization. It was amalgamation that brought Nigeria together, and the amalgamation was purely economic objective of the British people. And since the amalgamation, the economic agenda of Nigeria became the new colonization. So oil was found, and the big sisters, I've worked in Shell for over a decade, and
the company that is accused of destroying the land of
everything. Economic exploitation, environmental degradation, human capital problems, and you can accuse everything. But it's an extension. I was a trained professional by Shell, but I understand their modus operandi. I'm first of all a Nigerian, and then second a Shell professional. So I would say
you
to
feel
yes.
complicit.
Yes, and I realized that, and I resigned. And this is very important. When people realize that they are actually less useful to their society, or they are actually used against their society, we should have the conscience to design an exit. And I did. I would have been comfortable with my family all over the world. I've traveled all over the world. I've been to many countries.
Because of Shell?
Yes, I've stayed in 5 to 7-star hotel. I've traveled business and first class because of Shell. But I came to a point where I looked at myself and said, am I being useful to my country, or am I being useful to Shell? And the answer I get every time is, you have just been useful to Shell. And I resigned, and I came back to politics for that reason, to be useful to my country. Now, the problem
is... To be useful to your country by kicking Shell out of Nigeria?
No, Shell cannot be kicked out of Nigeria.
Okay, why?
This is the problem. You've just asked me a question of medley. The Shell and other companies, Shell, RJ, Chevron, Mobil, and Total, they're all an agent of the British, American, Western influence in Nigeria. Okay. But beyond that, there is also the United Nations, the IMF, the World Bank. So as a progressive politician, I understand that when Western countries look at Nigeria, they see an emerging power, a black power in the world, and if we're allowed to progress in the trajectory of development, we can rival most of European countries. Now, there is a contending interest in Nigeria, and the interest is simple: that Nigeria should remain a consumption nation, a market of products and services from the West. But you can continue to blame this country forever. There is a point where you yourself, as Nigerians, have to tell yourself, are we going to... These guys don't come in and do these things by themselves. They use Nigerians. So you believe they use agents. The meddling is real? It's real, and it is designed through Nigerians.
When you said Nigerians, what do you exactly mean? Look, diplomats?
Do you know how many Nigerian leaders have dual citizenship?
Dual citizenship?
Dual passport, either British and Nigerian passport, either American, Nigerian passport, or whatever Western passport.
Is that a problem?
It is a problem.
Probably they were...
Why will you make Nigeria a spare tire? Why will you actually want to have a backup country? Is it because you believe it will collapse? Is it because you believe it will not develop? Is it because you believe it's not good enough for your family, so your family will have to leave and go to a second country? There's a big problem in that philosophy of saying, I want to be a citizen of America, because you have a plan B. In your mind, it means plan A will collapse. You're not working towards making plan A work. I don't believe that any leader who have a dual citizenship should be the president of this country. You are putting the blame on Nigerian politicians. I am saying that Nigerians are agents of the West. The West will always do their plan. It is their general philosophy of dominating the entire global economy and the politics of the world and the defense and military to do what they do. But it's your responsibility as a nation to ensure that you have the patriotism, the capacity, the ability, the passion for your people and your country. And that's why I say, I don't think somebody with dual citizenship will have that kind of passion. So it's us that will sit with these people. For example, people accuse China of, so if you take Chinese loan, you become a slave to China. I said, look, China bring infrastructure and development. We've been taking loan from IMF or World Bank for 60 years. We didn't get the same development. What we need is the leadership that will sit with China and say, what is it for us? A win-win situation for China and for Nigeria. Yes, because it's important that when you sit with a foreign country, you should know it is their interest they are here to defend, not your interest. But the problem is they also train our people and give them dual citizenship and take them to scholarship and give them money and give them pittance, and they compromise the whole of the country's interest. So we have a problem in the structure of the Nigerian politics and leadership and the way the Nigerian state is managed. We have a big problem here that patriotism and passion for the country needs to be revived. And that's why Buhari disappointed us.
In a sense, politics and democracy are the problems of Nigeria. Do you agree that we need a much stronger leader that would be ruling with iron fist?
Can you get anybody close to Buhari in a democracy? Look, stop talking about this utopia of leadership. We've tested them, they failed us. What we need are believers. Believers in this democracy.
How can we get them?
We have them.
Who are they?
Okay, for example,
so you're saying you
in APC.
You are one of them.
Well, I am a student of democracy and a believer in democracy. My time will come and I will demonstrate competitively that I believe in this system and it is the viable system of development. This is the problem. We're in a transition from military to democracy. The military have groomed highly corrupt politicians and placed them in the position of power, and they don't want to leave. So we have to select two kind of leaders: people who believe in democracy and people with experience and pedigree to manage this system. So for example, if you take a line in 1999, you will find out that there is Bola Ahmed Tinubu in APC, there is Rabi Musa Kwankwaso in NNPP, there is Atiku Abubakar in PDP. These are what's called transitional leaders in our democracy. They are believers in democracy. They have worked very hard to transit Nigeria from military to democracy. They have participated in democracy. They have given their contribution. If you get a paper to mark them, you will mark them pass. The reason is the Nigerian system that they are struggling with and their own experience and their belief in democracy are in continuous conflict, and therefore they are now in a good position. And I'm glad Tinubu is aiming for presidency in APC, Kwankwaso is aiming for presidency in NNPP, Atiku is aiming for presidency in PDP. Whatever the outcome, it's a win-win for Nigeria, because these guys know the bad guys. They work with them. These guys believe in democracy. They can transit us. These guys are also entrepreneurs. These are guys who manage economy either individually, Tinubu and Atiku particularly, and Kwankwaso is a human development specialist, and that is what this country requires. So my friend,
you have no problem with Atiku getting into power?
I have no problem with Atiku, Tinubu or Kwankwaso getting into power, because I believe they have the experience and they have the belief in this democracy to transit us. We are not expecting miracle. I have stopped expecting miracle from Buhari time. I'm expecting a leader who believes in democracy, who will function the institution of democracy, and our time will come when we will get the foundation they lay, and then we build new Nigeria. And that's why we call Kano Saba. We're starting from Kano, and God willing, at every level in our state, there are people like us who will take over the state and will take over from this generation, and we build a new Nigeria.
I'd have to put this question to you because we're going to have to be brief, because we are very much running out of time and we have not even reached half of the questions I've got for you. But anyway,
we'll have another time.
Yeah, of course, sure, we will have that. But you know, one of the things that many Nigerians are complaining about and attributing it to you making Nigerian politics quote-unquote complex is because you are always saying the youths can also lead, can get the opportunity to lead, to run for any political office that they are looking for. But unfortunately, I don't know whether it's your fault or the fault of the political parties, the forms, even the forms are so expensive that the young people who do not even have the money to get married, you know, how do you expect them to buy the forms and then participate in the political activities of the country?
So politics,
there is a double standard here.
So quickly, politics is about advocacy and basically applying yourself. So there are two issues there. You don't get people to give you power. You have to step up, you have to make a bid, you have to go for it, and then people will see your commitment to power and then endorse you and probably give you the opportunity to serve. So there are two issues. People who have been trained, like we said, this generation that I've mentioned, have come to understand the power of holding on to power. They will not give it up. The young people who are asking for power are not organized. If they are organized, there are 60 to 70 million young voters in Nigeria. If they decide today they will produce president, they will produce president. However, because of the way our society operates, every individual that is already in power now control a large chunk of young people. And it's like a belief system.
So you are to blame, to be honest with you.
We
not
are.
the young people for helping to disorganize.
So you know what I'm doing?
Yeah, of
so
course,
you know what I'm doing?
That you're accusing of.
You know what I'm doing? At the age of 50, I'm a bridge to the young people.
You are neither a young person,
correct.
nor an old person.
So I am volunteering. I'm making myself available to lie down so the young people will have a bridge to cross over to position of power. And I am also studying and knowing the strategy of these old political actors and knowing well their mental model of holding on to power and managing them to give us opportunity to serve, not because they want it, but because we have mobilized enough capacity and demonstrate enough ability to take it. This is very important, and that's what. And if you work with us, the power is in your hand. We are just a bridge. We are 10 years bridge. We're not coming to stay forever. When we transit to you, the energy, the innovation, the capacity of young people will be brought to bear on the state, and you will see a transformative Nigeria, like you said.
Finally, before we go, would you allow a young person to run for the same office that you're running and then just step aside and push him?
If he demonstrates capability, it's a competition. See, I don't need to step aside.
Would you like to step down? I mean, would you step down and push a young person?
He has to push me away by his own capacity.
So you're power hungry?
No, it's not power hungry. It's capacity. If he doesn't have the capacity to push me away, he doesn't have the capacity to lead.
Okay. Time will tell. Mr. Win-Win, thank you very much indeed for being on the program.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Really enjoyed it.
It's been an honor having this kind of debate with you.
The honor is mine, honestly.
Yeah, of course. On behalf of everyone that has contributed to the production of the program, and the big boss, the producer of the program, Zainab Abdurrahman Agogo, I am Umar Isa Dandugu saying goodbye and have a pleasant day ahead.